Today I'm going to show you the simplest, most effective horde base you can build in 7 Days to Die 1.0. Let's get to it. So I want to start this video by preferencing that variations of this design have been around for a very, very long time. I have no idea who started it, where its original concept came from, but this is my take on the design. The core principles of this horde base just make use of understanding the AI and how it works and exploiting it. Once you understand these concepts, the base is extremely customizable, easy to build. You can start building it in your first week and upgrade it throughout your time playing, and it is going to last you a very, very long time. Okay, so with that said, the first thing you need to do is find a large 2-story house with an attic. Most of the 2-story houses should have an attic to them, and that's what you want to find. You want to find one that has a nice clean face to it because that's going to make less work for you to do. Also, a large 3-story or more building will work for this as well. The main factor here is height. You want at least 3 stories, and you want to limit the amount of work you want to do for yourself. So a house like this one is a perfect example of limited amount of work. Look at the side that you plan on using, look at your compass and see which direction you're facing. Once you are in the house, you just run to the opposite direction. So if you are looking at the side you want and it is facing south, once you get inside, you want to go upstairs and go north. This will allow you to easily find the proper face inside if it doesn't have windows or anything to get your bearings. Clear the house completely, make sure that there are no zombies left, put down a claim block or a bedroll in order to prevent them from spawning in the future. Before you even start building your horde base, you want to find the stairs. You want to take the stairs out at least 3 high. If there are 2 sets of stairs, take both sets out at least 3 high. This helps to reinforce the AI to prevent it from trying to get to you via the stairs. If you only take the first set out, the AI will tear through the walls, create its own stairs, and try to get to you. You want to do the same thing with whatever method the game has you getting into the attic. So if there is a ladder to get into the attic, take out most of the ladder. If there are some stuff piled up that you jump on, like couches and chairs and stuff like that, take out all of that stuff. But Fire Spark, then how do I get in and out of there? Well, just place some ladders that you can pick up later. At only 3 high, you should be able to pick up all of the ladders that you have placed. Now, once you have done all of that and you are upstairs in the attic and you are facing the side that you plan on building this structure from, it's time for a little demolition. You want to knock out a 3x3 hole. This gives you plenty of space to work in and allows you to easily keep everything symmetrical and nice and pretty. This is also great for teams of people because it leaves 3 separate places for people to stand. Once you have your 3x3 hole dug, you are going to find the center block, and out from that block, you are going to place 3 of the pole side center. You want to orientate this so that it lines up with the top of the block. After you've built out 3, you are then going to place a block at the end of those 3 poles that you just built out from the center. Then you're going to use a combination of the blocks and the ramp blocks in order to build a giant ramp to that block, as you can see on the screen. Once you've done this, we are now going to move on to securing the top. On the front of the hole that you just dug, you want to place 3 of the scaffolding ladders across the bottom of that hole. You want to orientate these so that they are laying on their sides. You don't want zombies climbing them. Then you are going to do the exact same thing across the top. This will create a small 1-block gap. Then what you want to do across the top is flip that scaffolding around so that the block is facing outwards, and then put a second layer of that scaffolding across the top. This just helps buffer that top area a little bit. It shouldn't get destroyed, but if any kind of damage does happen, the outer scaffolding will end up taking the brunt of that damage, leaving the inner ones untouched. Now on the bottom half, instead of double layering it, you want to place 3 of the slope plate filler across the bottom of it. You want these so that the sharpest point is facing upwards. This makes it very difficult for the zombies to latch onto the front in any way and causes them to just slip off and push each other off from the front very easily. After you have done that, you want to remove the initial pillar that you placed there in the front before you built outwards and replace that with the pole side centered pyramid. You want the sharpest part of this facing towards the scaffolding. Once again, we're just creating a very small area that they will still see as a path, but they won't really be able to stand on very well. At most, you should only ever have 1 zombie standing in this location because they'll pile up and push each other away and push each other off of it. Now, across the top of this structure, you want to place 3 ramps facing downwards. This prevents them from piling up at the front of the location here. So if they stack up, they shove each other off because the ramps push them backwards. Now, last but not least, you need the one that is labeled just pole, and you want to orientate this so that it is setting on its side, and you want to place this on on top of the bottom scaffolding that you placed. This prevents zombies from squishing through that 1 block gap. If you don't have this there, zombies can get through that 1 block gap. This just stops that from happening. This will also absorb a majority of the zombies' attacks. So if you upgrade anything past cobblestone, you want to upgrade this first. Now that you have a majority of the structure complete, we are going to add a few finishing touches just to give you a little bit of extra added protection. So head to the bottom of the ramp and you want to coat the first 2 levels of the bottom of your ramp towards the front in plating, and it's just called plate. That's the block you want. You want to face it so that the larger chunk of the block is facing outwards, and it should fit smoothly against the side of your structure. Then where the ramp pieces are, you need plate 1/2 triangle, and you should be able to orientate that in a way that the slopes line up together, and this should create a nice uniform structure. Now at the very bottom, for about 5 or 6 back, give or take a little bit, however many you want to do, it doesn't matter too much, we are going to dig down 1 block deep along the side of your giant ramp, and you're going to place the cube 1M hole block so that the hole is facing upwards. And the reason we are doing this is because this block specifically screws with zombie pathing. They don't like it. They don't like to cross it. As you can see from the demonstration on the screen, the party girl will not cross it to get to me. She walks around the outside and takes the longest path possible around to try and get to me instead of just crossing that 1 meter cube or 1 millimeter, whatever it is, the 1M hole cube block. Now, this isn't to say that they cannot get in this or that they won't cross this block, because they will. They just prefer not to. What this is going to do is help ensure that the bottom of your structure here stays protected. You can line this entire thing in these if you want, the whole bottom, as long as there isn't one in front of the ramp. You want to keep the path leading up the ramp to you as clear as you possibly can. You eventually, once you have everything constructed, want to move any debris and any other nonsense that could get in the way from the zombie pathing to ensure that they see this as the clearest possible path to you. Placing these along the side just stops them from doing any kind of nonsense that zombies tend to do, because there's some randomization in the AI that can cause them to go into a rage mode where they will just attack the side of your structure. This helps to prevent that, as well as direct the zombies towards the entrance to the ramp so that they run up the ramp. Now that you've done all this, let's go back up to the main area where you are going to stand, so on the opposite end of that little pole that leads to the scaffolding, and you want to just kind of box that in the best you can. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just box it in, shove a door somewhere, and that's it. This is just going to make you a bit more secure and help ensure that the zombies don't see any other path to you other than that main ramp. The more you can convolute the path to get to you from behind you and ensure that there's a clear path in front of you, the more you ensure that the zombies will just continuously run up that ramp. And you want to knock out at least 1 hole in the roof above you. This is so that you can deal with birds, and then you want to place 2 scaffolding inside of that hole that you just dug. Place 1 at the top, flip it around, place another one at the bottom. Now go through and upgrade everything as much as you can upgrade it, starting with the ramp structure first and that pole that leads to you. I highly recommend upgrading all of this to cobblestone before your first Horde night. I really wouldn't try to do this in a wood structure. I would ensure that all of it is done in at least cobblestone. You don't need to do the entire ramp though that leads up. The center part of it you can leave in wood, but I would do the first 2 rows of blocks across the bottom. I would do each one of the blocks that the ramp piece is set on, and I would do the ramps themselves, as well as ensuring that the face of the structure in which you are going to be standing, so all of the scaffolding and all of the blocks that we have made going towards that structure, so the pole, the ramps at the top, all of that is upgraded as much as you can possibly upgrade it, at least to cobblestone. This setup should do you fine just upgraded to cobblestone for a very long time. Now, when Horde night happens, all you are going to do is stand on the back side of this structure and wait for the zombies to run up the ramp, and then as they get up the ramp and they run down that pole towards you, you just whack them. You will kill some, others you won't kill. They will just fall off, fall down to the bottom, turn around and run and go back up the ramp to you. Now let's talk about some additional things that you can do to reinforce this structure even more and make it even better, and that is starting with digging a pit below it. Now, you don't want to just dig a straight pit that traps the zombies, because then the zombies will dig out. You want to dig a pit that directs the zombies. There's a few reasons to do this. One, as I stated before, if you are not high enough up off the ground, you can trigger them to go into a rage mode where they will just attack random stuff. Majority of the time, it will probably be the house that you are standing in, and that doesn't really matter because this structure doesn't take a lot to throw up, and honestly, you can throw up a bunch of them. So if the house starts tumbling down at some point or takes so much damage that it looks like it's gonna fall, you can just go to another one or repair the house. Anyway, I digress. So you want to dig a pit directly below where you are standing, and you want to dig it 3 deep and 3 wide. And the reason we do this is because zombies can't jump out of this. Now you want to continue digging alongside of the house and then dig parallel with your ramp and then give them a slope to run out of. Just slope the ground. You don't have to build any structure, just slope the ground. The longer you can make this, the better. So the further parallel you go with the house, the better. And then you don't want to go parallel with the ramp too far past the entrance to your ramp. What this does is this gives the zombies rage mode time to cool down, because when they fall, they may or may not attack the dirt. They tend to not attack the dirt unless they have to in order to get to you. Most times they will just avoid it, and then they will run down this path and then run up out of the hole that you just knocked them into, and then run directly back to your ramp and try to get to you. This also gives you a bit of a cooldown period between knocking groups of zombies down into the hole, and gives you time to do other things that you may need to do, like drink or eat or heal or whatever. Now, there are a ton of little tweaks that we can make past this point, but I want to cover one more very important upgrade that you can make that will make a massive difference in how easy Horde Night is to deal with, and that is adding a little bit of electric fence. So you can take and put an electric fence on the side of the house stretching across the pole that leads to you. Then you can just put the generator in the little box that you stand in, and if you do this, you can easily repair the electric fence while you are standing inside of the box. So if you have plenty of iron and electrical parts on you, this thing will last you the entire Horde Night. This tiny little change makes a massive difference in how easy a Horde Night is to deal with, because as the zombies run up that ramp and across that pole and try to get to you, they hit that electric fence and it stuns them and allows you to land very easy headshots. They also don't attack during this time, and the ones that run up behind them will also just shove them off down into the hole. So if you end up in a situation where there's more coming at you than you can handle, they just kind of take care of themselves. The pit that you dig below this thing is one thing to help secure the whole thing and make sure it runs smoothly, but I can't stress to you how much of a quality of life improvement it is to have this one electric fence stretched across the front of this thing. Now, do note that the electric fence isn't mandatory. It's just a nice quality of life upgrade. You don't have to have it, and this whole thing will run super smooth, super easy for quite some time. Unless you end up with a situation where you're playing with Firespark and he likes to set off demos because he gets trigger happy with his stun baton. But as you've seen from the footage, even with demos showing up, radiateds, cops, whatever, you name it, this Horde base handles all of it flawlessly. And a combination of the footage you have seen here is from me running testing on a very high level, very late game situation on my testing map, as well as playing legit on my server. And that's pretty much all there is to it. And as I stated many times throughout this video, there are a ton of little tweaks that you can make to this thing. You could put the stairs sideways if you want. You could fill the pit full of traps, whatever you want to do. But the basis for this setup stays the same, and it is one of the most, if not the most effective Horde bases I've ever used. All right, and that is going to wrap it up for this one. Hopefully you all found this video helpful and informational. If you did, please consider hitting the subscribe button and notification bell so you can be notified when I upload other videos. And if you're looking for some more of my content, you can find a link to another one of my 7 Days to Die videos on the screen right now. I want to give an absolute massive shout out and thank you to all of my channel supporters for helping to keep these videos sponsor free. You all are absolutely amazing people. If you would like to become an official channel supporter, check out the links in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and share your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.